Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. The paradigm share today is the SPLC controversy. You probably heard about the Southern Poverty Law Center, and they have faced an 11-count indictment from the Trump department. Now, I'm going to be a cards on the table. I neither trust the modern version of the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Trump administration. I don't know what to believe because I'm not a lawyer. I've not looked in the documents. I'm going to rely on people I trust, lawyers I trust, to eventually go through this and see what happens, what case comes forward. I personally have written an article critical of the Southern Poverty Law Center years ago. I'll put it in the description, a link to it. And my major argument was that this was not a fair arbiter of hatred. And I pointed out that there was plenty of examples of hatred from progressives. Some of you know that I have a listserv of white progressives. One of the problems is some of the hatefulness that comes out of white progressives. So I'm not a fan of the Southern Poverty Law Center. I can believe that they may have manipulated things to improve their fundraising. I can believe that. I'm not saying that occurred. I don't know what occurred. Neither do you, probably, unless you're a lawyer who's seen all the documents. You don't know what occurred either, but I can believe it. I can also believe that the Trump administration has manipulated the situation to go after their political enemies. I can believe that as well. So, what is there to talk about then with the Southern Poverty Law Center, since I don't know exactly what has happened? The reaction to this, as you may well imagine, has gone completely down partisan lines. If you're a conservative, you believe the prosecution, regardless of the evidence, really at this point in time. If you're progressive, you automatically defend the Southern Poverty Law Center. The sad part was, Southern Poverty Law Center used to be a very viable place where certain racial atrocities could be addressed. The use of the law to go after some of the overtly racist organizations was very valuable. It was when they became more of a political unit, where they put groups like Focus on the Family. Now, you can disagree with Focus on the Family. I know there's been some criticism of them. Some of them valid, some of them maybe less so, but they're not the KKK. And when you lack the nuance to see that I have problems with Focus on the Family, they're not the KKK, that's a serious issue, because you should not treat Focus on the Family like they're the KKK. It's quite that simple. So there's a sadness to myself when I think about the Southern Poverty Law Center, what they used to be, what they are today. And the controversies that there are today, there's even been accusations of racism and sexism within the Southern Poverty Law Center. I don't know what to make of that. But simply because they did great things in the past doesn't mean that they're great today. Political conservatives have a point. People use their hate lists to go after people who should not be on that list. And from the other point of view, the Trump administration has shown that they're going after their political enemies. Now, to some degree, that's come about because when Trump was out of office for the past 4 years, let's face facts, there were legal entities going after him, and they weren't all fair. What was happening in New York was an atrocity. I don't care there's 34 indictments. There are indictments for things that would not have been indicted for anyone else in the United States. That's not justice. So what the Trump administration is doing is some of what was done to them, only they're taking it to a level 10 instead of a level 7. So could I believe that they've targeted the Southern Poverty Law Center just to punch political enemies? Absolutely. These things seem fairly clear to me, sitting out and being critical of both the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Trump administration. But in our partisan society, those who've taken one side can only see the problems with the Southern Poverty Law Center, and those on the other side, only the problems with the Trump administration. The way an informed citizen, Christian person should act is to wait for evidence. Too often, whether it's this case or some police shooting or some accusation, we don't wait for evidence. Far before the evidence is overwhelming, we come to our conclusion, and then we come to our conclusion to feel the need to defend it no matter what. Before we go on, this sort of analysis is interesting to you, please consider liking this channel. Just give this a like. Please see about giving a comment. These things help this sort of channel to grow, and these are sort of analysis that I like to engage in. I am not saying that those of us who have not taken a side that we're unbiased. We are. And I've been accused of having a bias towards being a moderate. Now, there are issues where I feel very strongly about, where you could say I'm pretty right-wing. I think I am on abortion. There are issues you could say I'm far to the left. I probably am on immigration. That's fine. I don't see myself as a moderate in all things. What I see myself, and I think I see a lot of other people this way, as we don't want to jump on one side or the other before we come to the conclusion, because we know that once we do that, we can be trapped into defending things that are indefensible and making claims that we really don't believe, but now we've committed ourselves to defending the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Trump administration. So I'm looking at this issue not just for the information, not just for what actually happened, but how we as Americans can approach problems and try to solve them by looking at all the evidence and not just those that favor our partisan side. When we can learn how to do that, we can learn how to stop attacking each other for the sake of attacking each other and find out who the true villains really are. I think there's a true villain in this case. It may be the Southern Poverty Law Center. That would not surprise me. And the evidence shows that they were actually manufacturing racial hatred to make money. I want people in jail. Those may be the Trump administration who are going after the political enemies. And if that's the case, I want people fired and, if appropriate, jailed as well. But I don't know. Why can't we take that position, let the evidence come out, and let the evidence take us where it goes? Well, I hope you enjoyed this analysis. And if you do, please come back and we'll shatter some more paradigms.